welcome. If you don't know who I am and you're part of any of the majors in the in the sciences department, you know me as the voice behind the emails. I'm the one that emails you constantly about external opportunities at John Jay. I'm also the associate director of PRISM, which is the program for research initiatives on science and math. That office houses right now 3 different programs: the undergraduate research program, the junior scholars, which is this, and also the CJ for FOS and CJS for STEM advisement support. The junior scholars program, which is what you guys are here for, it's an academic support and professional development program. So the goal is to help you succeed at John Jay and prepare for what comes after. That's why there's tutoring, to make sure that you're getting the support that you need. And please remember that you have until November 1st to tell us if none of your classes are covered by the MSRC, so we can figure out something else for you to potentially do. We have a lot of people coming in. Awesome. Remember, please sign, grab lunch, sit down, but sign. Otherwise, I don't know you were here. The other activity is to attend these type of events. Every semester, we put together events based on feedback that we get from you guys, and also what we think you should be hearing. For example, one of my big passionate things for undergraduate studies are undergraduate summer research programs. These programs are external, and we're going to be talking about them today. And I know that all of you forensic science students, even if you're a freshman, you hear, oh, internship. We have to figure that out. By the way, the department is going to have 2 new staffers that are going to be working mostly with internships for forensic science, CMB, and toxicology. Computer science already has QNI2X, and are also going to get a couple more people helping with internships for them. We're going to be working with them, but they're not going to be part of PRISM. Then the third activity is the academic advisement. And our goal is to make sure you are on route to graduate. Our goal is for all of you to graduate in 4 years, if not 5, preferably not 6, but if it's 6, well, what can you do? So you already all started taking appointments with Alejandra, who's our new academic advisor. Please be patient with her. She's still learning the majors. So I meet with her every other day. Just if she had questions about your cases, I meet with her, and she was also working with the academic advisement center. And then you do those 3 things. Well, some of them several parts. At the end of the semester, if you submitted all the paperwork and we set you up for direct deposit from the Research Foundation, you get $300 in your bank account. Usually January, June, and the requirements for are per semester. So then for the spring, it's going to be the same: 4 appointments at the of tutoring, 3 events, and 1 academic advisement session. So I'm recording this because my goal is to at some point learn how to do video editing and post everything on on YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel, and all the videos from the workshops that we did during the pandemic are in there. Just look for PRISM at JJC, and a few of them, most of them from during the pandemic are there, because we had someone that knew how to do video editing. At some point, we'll figure it out. Okay. So I want to start first with the best career advice I have ever received. I am originally from Puerto Rico, so it was in Spanish. La carrera perfecta es una en la cual tú tienes un trabajo que puedes hacer bien y que te gusta hacer. The perfect career for you is one in which you can do the job well and that you enjoy doing the work. Blanca Valentin Ramos, and if you can see the last names, if you're Latino and recognize the last names with my name, yes, is my mother. My mother was a high school career counselor and academic advisor. She always told this to both me and my sister. Job is different from a career, and you want a job that will advance your career. And a good career and a good job is something that you can do without struggling and that you enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy it, I would not wish upon my worst enemy to have a career and jobs that they don't enjoy. And for you, I hope that you all will enjoy 100% of your careers. But if you notice part of this, what my mom refers are both to your skills and your interests. What are the skills that you are developing now as undergraduates, and why are you interested in careers or jobs in a particular field that takes self-knowledge? Also the pre-health advisor for John Jay. I met with a few of you by now, and you know that one of my first questions is, hello.
I'm not even far to go. I just came up here.
I hear someone talking.
Thank you.
Brianna, I think your mic is on.
Sure.
Okay. So if you were trying to ask a question, feel free to ask it now and turn it on. I just didn't know if you had turned it on by mistake. Anyway, where was I? Best career, etc., etc. Okay. So under self-knowledge, you have to understand, and one of the first questions that I ask for pre-health students or pre-med students when I meet with them is, why are you interested in a career in healthcare? What attracts you to it? About half give me an answer about their interest, about half give me because I want to help people. So those students I always ask afterwards, is that the only way you can think of helping people? Based on your interests? So usually if you ask that, they should tell you both about the skills and about the interest. I want to cut open people and grab hearts like they do in Grey's Anatomy. I want to, I don't know, cure babies in the third world or put COVID vaccines on everyone's heart. That matches both the interest of the person and also the skills that they hope to develop. So there are various ways that you can, during your undergraduate career, explore those interests and your skills. First one, of course, your academic career. For those of you in the science department, there's a reason why every class in your leading to your major has a lab, is because we want you to not just reinforce what you learn in lecture, but also develop those technical skills. For computer science, that's why the Computer Science Society has taken such an active role developing activities that go beyond what you learn in the classroom. Internships. Best way to learn something is to do by doing it. Also by doing extracurricular or co-curricular activities like undergraduate research with a faculty mentor, or participating in club activities, or on any of the 20,000 activities that John Jay organizes for our students. And also by shadowing, by meeting professionals doing the job that you want to have or have the career that you aspire to pursue, and spend asking them, can I spend a day with you? Sometimes what we think we like in our heads, I want to cut open people, doesn't match the reality. Oh, ew, blood. So until you're there, you're never going to know. So take advantage of any opportunity that you have through your time at John Jay that you can meet professionals and potentially ask them, can I spend a day with you just seeing what is this job day to day? The best way to figure out if you like doing something is by doing it. Because again, if sometimes in your head you think you like something, and then sometimes in your head you think, oh, I am going to be a great singer, and then when you actually have an audience and everybody runs away screaming, you know that maybe you have the interest, maybe you have the passion, but you don't have the skills. The best way to demonstrate that you can do something is by having done it. So when you're looking for a job, being able to say, not only do I have the degree you're asking for, but you know, from those 5 tasks that you wrote that this job is going to be responsible for, I've already been doing 2 through this experience or that internship for quite a while. I already have that on the ground experience. And if you cannot do it, at least witness it. Why? So that you can convince yourself, yeah, you know what, this is what I want to do. That's why I am very, very passionate about shadowing, because, and I know that a lot of you are going to recognize this. You know, our parents, sometimes there's 3 careers in the world: lawyer, doctor, or engineer. That's it. So that was my case, and because I was a science nerd, my mom kept insisting, oh, you're going to be a physician, so you should start volunteering in hospitals. I lasted 2 days. The first time somebody bled over me, I'm like, I am out of here. I haven't looked back. So summer research on summer undergraduate research programs. I'm gonna call them SERPs for short. Every institution calls them something different. For example, the SHARP, which is the Summer Harbor Undergraduate Program. Harvard wants to have their name in everything. So others are SROP, Summer Research Opportunity Programs. So the acronym doesn't mean anything, and some of them are REO, Research Experience for Undergraduates. The acronym doesn't mean anything for real. That's just every school calls it differently. But I'm gonna be calling them SERPs because it's that way I don't have to say this full phrase. So summer SERPs tend to be externally funded, meaning that faculty members or staffers write a grant to a federal agency and get the funds to run these programs, which aim to provide research experience to undergraduates so that they can, particularly undergraduates that plan or are considering pursuing careers in research, meaning careers that you do after getting a PhD. Most of them last between 8 and 10 weeks. They came out of legislation in the 1980s in which they realized that, by the year 2000, we're not going to have enough scientists. And since then, that's why all PhDs since then have been, are fully funded and they're for free. You don't have to pay for your PhD. Your PhD in science and math, engineering, and technology, in 99% of the cases is paid for. And also why these programs exist, to make sure that we have students in the pipeline that have the appropriate experience to pursue PhDs. These programs are aimed at students at colleges and universities that do not have research infrastructure, or also students at colleges and universities that belong to underrepresented populations that have traditionally and historically not have access to research opportunities at the undergraduate level. The goal is to increase increase access to students who lack it, and also increase the number of people that are going to be pursuing PhDs. They're usually located at research-intensive institutions. CUNY has a couple. They're run by CUNY Central, and the labs are at the, there's a new research, but newish research center at City College that associated with CUNY and not with City College. And all the labs are there. Some CUNY schools have smaller programs, but every research-intensive institution, every school that you have heard on TV, all the Ivies, all the large state university, University of Michigan, Michigan State University, they all have this. Why? By faculty applying for these grants, by the way, little secret about your faculty and professors, the full-time professors only get paid for 10 months out of the year. The reason for this is so that they look for external funding to pay themselves for those 2 extra months. So by faculty getting these grants, they get to pay themselves for the summer. So they make more money. So there's an encouragement for faculty members to pursue these type of opportunities and bring these opportunities to campus. Most of them are going to have structured programming, where they're going to have a week where you're going to be joining the lab, but you're also going to have activities throughout the summer, both social and academic. They are fully funded, meaning that you will receive a stipend, usually about $3,000 to $4,000, if not above. They will pay for your travel if you're from outside of town. They will pay for your housing on campus too. They actually, even if you live in New York, some of them will expect you to live on campus in New York, like for example, NYU School of Medicine. They have an internship program, it's one of the most competitive in the US, and all the students, I don't care where you live, you have to stay in the NYU campus.
How many people do these internships usually accept? And if you have to travel with them, are they like your friends, or do you work together as a team?
Let's take one back. Let's not call these ones internships. We'll go into internships in a bit. Let's call them SERPs, a summer research programs. Usually they can be anything from 10 to 50 students. And I'm sorry, what was the second question?
Do you like work together with these 10 or 15 other classmates?
No, usually you get assigned to a lab, and because you're going to be working on a research project with a faculty member, you're assigned to that lab, and you work usually with a graduate student or with a postdoc during your summer. In other words, no one's going to drop you in a lab and abandon you. You're going to be mentored. The purpose of this is, again, train you to be an independent scientist. So it's the first step before you go to get a PhD.
And these terms are open to freshmen, like all levels, right?
Except graduating seniors, sorry. The reason for that is insurance. Your John Jay insurance as because it's an academic activity, you would be while you're still a student, you're covered by the homeschool insurance if something happens. And also it's because the programs prepare you for graduate schools, and graduate schools prefer that you transition from undergraduate directly to PhD programs by now, particularly the one in biomedical sciences. Okay, so should I do a cert? Any of you thinking about grad school, getting a PhD or a master's?
Yeah.
Okay, so for PhDs in particular, by the way, how much do you think getting a PhD costs?
Over 150,000.
Over 150,000 over there. How about over here? Anybody else? Big zero. I told you a few slides back. In the 1980s, there was a study that realized we're not going to have enough scientists. And since then, the US government has been investing a lot of money in the development of science professionals. So that means that the US government pays for your PhD. Not only that, you get paid while doing the PhD. You get stipend or a fellowship that, again, you're not going to be making the big bucks, but you're at least going to be able to clothe and feed yourself and house yourself. Around the average now is around 30, depending on location, between $25,000 and $50,000. Obviously, in New York, you get paid a little bit more than in Michigan.
Why is there not enough scientists? Like in the 80s, were most people majoring in other majors?
Yes, in the 80s there was not a strong focus on STEM, and that's why since the 1980s there's been a lot more federal investment in developing STEM majors. For example, the computer science major from John Jay is not that old. The math department used to just give the classes of math for criminal justice and for forensic science. And then that's why more and more science programs have been developing. It's the one leftover industry that's still growing. Or maybe you're unsure about what type of post-grad school you want to do. That's okay too. And these type of opportunities will allow you to experience a little bit life in grad school so that you can decide is this for me or not.
How long does grad school typically last?
It depends. Let's go back to that at the end, okay? Because that's a very important question. So some of you are doing research already at John Jay. Some of you are part of the undergraduate research program. I know I saw a few online. I'm already doing this. Why do I have to go away to University of California? Me personally, when I was your age, I did 2 of these summer programs. I did one at West Lafayette, Indiana, at Purdue University, middle of nowhere. I did the other one at NYU School of Medicine, and I'm going to realize my heart might be from Puerto Rico, but I'm a New Yorker at heart. Oh, wait. Something like that. Some sort of platitude like that. Anyway. So you're there. You have plenty of research opportunities here through PRISM, by yourself, through the McNair program, through the Office of Student Research and Creativity. All of you pay, if you're a US national or a permanent resident or some sort of, except international students, they'll be able to pay you a stipend for that. But these type of programs, you have to, not really, but think about it. While you're at John Jay, you also have classes, you have families. For some reason, you want to have a personal life, maybe have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I don't know why you would want that, but so what you do on campus is never going to be full time. You're never going to be an experience what is to be a scientist full time. It has added benefits. Again, they pay you. They pay relatively well. They come sometimes with GRE courses or career exploration, opportunity to network, to meet other professionals. If you're thinking about a PhD, the standard is 3 letters of recommendation. Your faculty mentor from your institution, the faculty mentor from the class that you did the best in, plus someone from outside that can verify. I had this student in my lab. They're amazing, and I cannot wait until they become my colleague in 5 to 6 years. You have a likelier chance of getting a publication or a poster presentation, which again is sought after by graduate programs. You get to learn new techniques that maybe you don't have access to while at John Jay. Maybe you end up in a project, you're majoring in toxicology, and maybe you end up in a project that involves more molecular biology. So you'll have a summer to learn hands-on how to master some of those techniques. It's a great way to try out the grad school experience. The first 2 years of a PhD program, and actually we'll go to your question now. The first PhD program in STEM, the national average is by now around 6 years, but the PhD programs tend to be between 5 and X number of years. Your committee decides when you graduate. The first 2 years you take courses, at that point you qualify, in which you take an exam that says, okay, you're good to go. And the rest of the time you're gonna be working on your dissertation research full-time. You're in your lab, you send your schedule with your faculty mentor, and you are then allowed to defend your dissertation once your committee that is there to evaluate you decides, you know what, you have contributed enough knowledge to humanity, you're ready to start your PhD, let's go through the defense process. That's the average for all PhDs. In STEM, they tend to be faster, between 5 and 6 years. Biomedical sciences, between 5.5 and 5.2 years.
And that's 6 years outside of undergraduate, right?
Yes.
So together
That is after the undergraduate degree.
So that's 12 years.
I know that it feels, oh my God, 5 more years. Trust me, you don't know how much I wish I had stayed an extra year. Low responsibility, student loans were on hold, and I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed being in the lab. So moving from my academic training to a real job and a real life was a little bit of a shock for me. And also it increases your chances of grad school admission. I don't have strict numbers about this. What I'll tell you is from my experience. PRISM undergraduate researchers that go out and do one of these programs always get in on their top grad school, one of their top grad schools, on the first try. The ones that don't, sometimes they get in on the first try, sometimes on the second, sometimes on the third. So far, and I've been here 8 years, I've had at least 50 of our students do this type of program. Only one didn't get in, and that was one specific problem. She had a bad experience, and she's now on her 3rd year of her PhD at Well Cornell. So it does help, particularly if you want a career in research. And again, so why do I push this? Is because I was in your shoes and doing one of these experiences, and these were my poster from Purdue on the right and my colleagues when I was at NYU, it changed my life. It allowed me to see myself as a scientist, less than a student and more of a practitioner of my field. I also got to meet incredible people, both established scientists, but also my peers. Over there is, on the bottom picture, the black guy in the bottom was my roommate in grad school too, after we did the summer program together. And I was just texting with him 5 minutes ago. One of those ladies is Melissa, her daughter's godparent. And I have had at least one conversation with the rest in the last 20 years since I did this program. And you know, you never know if you're going to pursue a career in science. These might be the people that become your bosses or your colleagues, or are they going to be the ones that review your publications or your grants. It's good networking. And for example, all those 4 people, including me, did the program through the Leadership Alliance that I'll talk to in a minute in 2001, and we are now friends because we have that in common. Raquel, who is the one on the right, actually worked at John Jay for a while. I got her a job in her office for a few years, and from there she moved to UPenn. And Jaihara on the left works at Rockefeller University on their postdoc office. So the typical structure of a SORP, again, 8 to 10 weeks. So you spend those times doing research in the PI lab. The PI means principal investigator or a research mentor. You usually attend weekly research seminars or journal clubs where you get introduced to different areas of research. You also get talks like this. professional development or skill development. Also, there are social or cultural events depending where you are. If you are in the middle of the country, you might go for a weekend to a park. If you're in New York, at least I know the summer program at NYU School of Medicine takes students to have at least one Broadway show every summer. And then at the end, there's always a symposium or a conference where you get to present your research. This is, by the way, where I realized this is what I want to do in my life. While I was doing my PhD at NYU, because I had done their summer program, I was a grad school advisor for their summer program for all the undergraduates. So a lot of what I learned and what I do in this job, I learned by helping run these type of programs. So how do you find them? Let's start with, I know that you are all New Yorkers, and I know that you all think that west of the Hudson is just a landfill and there's nothing there. There's a whole country and hundreds of institutions. There's 5 west of the Hudson River and away from Long Island and Manhattan. So applying only to New York schools because you're comfortable with it is going to reduce your chances. Why? These programs want to find diversity. They want to bring diverse groups. And I'm not just talking about the skin color or the accent. I'm talking people in New York. They want to bring people from California. Why? Diverse groups tend to work more effectively because you're going to have better interactions. So if you apply only to the New York, they're going to have maybe 1 or 2 sports for New Yorkers. And all New Yorkers, particularly the ones from CUNY, never want to leave New York. And they're going to have maybe 1 or 2 spots for students from CUNY. You're going to be fighting against all CUNY. Well, if you're applying to, by the way, Hawaii is a state and has a university and has summer programs. University of Hawaii, why not? So the way to find them, simple, Google summer research program, leave a space and the name of your favorite university or institution, any one of those that you find, and most of the hits are going to be links to the webpage for their summer program. The other term to look for is research experience for undergraduates. That's a technical term for NSF-funded programs. So either summer research program or research experience for undergraduates. You can look to professional organizations. The Society of Toxicology has a webpage that lists all the toxicology summer programs. Computer science, I don't know, I've never looked. The American Society for Microbiology also keeps that list. You can also ask your mentor. We get a lot of email. We get automatically, because we have a .edu email account, and we're listed as faculty or staff, people just enroll us on their mailing list, just like we do to them also. We have programs from Jolly that are meant for external audiences. And then the Science Department Student Listserv, which if you're a science student, you know me by heart. If you're a computer science student, every time that I have I get one of these for computer science, I send it to the Computer Science Society. I don't know if they're forwarding it because I don't even know who the president is. But if you're a member of the computer science, you should be, you're getting emails from Dr. Ed, you should be forwarding to everyone. Other places to look, Científico Latino is an organization run by Latino graduate students throughout the US, most of them in the natural sciences, and they have a pretty well updated database of summer research programs. The other one is pathways2science.org. This is an IBP and was funded through the NSF. They have a database of summer programs, they have a database of internships, and they have a database of scholarships and fellowships for undergraduates. External money that goes straight to your page, straight to your pocket. You never know. Again, Pathways to Science. If you look for Pathway Science, it's the second or third Google search. The National Science Foundation also has a good database of their summer programs on their website, and the Journal of Young Investigators also. The American Psychological Association has one for psychology. The AAMC, which is the American Association of Medical Colleges, has its own database of summer research programs for programs that are in biomedical sciences or provide opportunities to pre-med students. The Council of Undergraduate Research has a list, but it's very chemistry focused, although you're mostly forensic scientists, so chemistry is good for you. And the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos, Native Americans in Science, and the website for the annual Biomedical Research Conference for minority students also tend to have good databases. So I'm going to go through a couple of programs and a couple of consortia of programs in which you can apply to this through this organization, and then you can apply to multiple programs with a single application. The first one is the Leadership Alliance. The Leadership Alliance is an organization originally founded around 27 years ago, and it partnered a lot of research-intensive institutions in the Northeast, meaning the Ivy Leagues, with minority service institutions, so that the students on those institutions could take part and get more access to summer programs at research-intensive institutions. Right now, the Alliance is around 25 research-intensive institutions, including all the Ivies, including all the Ivies and all the Ivy Plus, including now Vanderbilt, University of Virginia, Montana State, Stanford, Tufts in Boston, and the Leadership Alliance has various things that they do. I am a Leadership Alliance alumni. One of my summer programs was through the Leadership Alliance. That's the one that I did at NYU. And they also provide resources and programming for alumni. So once you do a summer program with them, they will track you for life, and they will look out for you, and they will invite you to either help new students or get help. The Leadership Alliance runs the Summer Research Early Identification Program, or SREIP, which offers closely mentored research experience in the life and physical sciences, social sciences, behavioral science, and also the humanities. So it encompasses all the areas at around 20 institutions. I think that number went up. You spend around 8 to 10 weeks at the institution. You receive a stipend. Travel, housing expenses are covered. You work on the guidance of a faculty mentor. You get both theoretical and practical training. You make an oral poster presentation at the National Alliance National Symposium, which is a conference at the end of the summer that all students that apply to these institutions and gone through the program through the SREIP get to attend. Every year so far is in Connecticut, second to last week of July. And if you apply to a summer research program through the Leadership Alliance and you go to the conference, you're gonna see me there because I'm a part of their advisory board. You also get access to ongoing resources throughout the year. And professional networks, for example, we have a professional networking site that looks a little bit like a pared down version of Facebook, in which all alumni have profiles, and as a student in the program, you get access to the network, and you can use it to find professionals that did the same thing you're doing now many years ago and can talk to you about their career and provide a mentorship outside of the program. And there's a lot of professional development, both for students currently in there and to alumni. So they have that table, and you can go look on their website and say, for example, okay, I'm computer science. They have programs at Brown University, Dartmouth, Harvard, Howard, Johns Hopkins, Montana State, Stanford, Tufts, U Chicago, U Colorado, U Penn, U Virginia, Charlottesville, Vanderbilt, and Yale University. If you're here in the biomedical sciences or the life sciences, as you see, I'm sorry, life sciences, that's where the money is. So that's why they always have more programs. But also they're going to have for chemistry, education in STEM, the humanities, psychology, social sciences too. The other consortia is the Big Ten Alliance. Any football fans here that know what the Big Ten is? So the Big Ten Alliance is one of the alliance of the Big Ten institutions. We used to be 10 institutions in the Midwest that were very, very large and public institutions. Right now, we think there are like to 13 institutions because now Rutgers out of nowhere is a Big Ten. Even though it's not in the Midwest, it's like down the street. So the Big Ten Academic Alliance is a consortium. They're already, those schools are already connected, and they develop this alliance to share academic resources. And what they do is that they have a single application in which you apply to the to be up to 10 and 11 programs. So if you fill out one application, all the schools are gonna get them. And then out of that, you could get accepted to all of them, one of them, I don't know. It helps, it's very similar to the Leadership Alliance, help prepare students with research experience, with faculty mentors. They're gonna have weekly educational enrichment activities, workshops, preparation for grad school, a stipend, housing, and travel paid. At the end of the summer, you present your results at a symposium. Tend to be a little bit fancy than the Leadership Alliance, but still not a horrible experience. And all expenses related to participating in this are covered by the program. So, for example, for the Leadership Alliance National Symposium, the program will pay for your travel and will pay for your hotel. As I mentioned, there's several databases also where you can find this. The National Science Foundations, as I mentioned, run RUs, which is Research Experience for Undergraduate. You can go to their website, find your field, and it will show all the programs that are active on that field that are funded through the NSF. And the AAMC, the American Association of Medical Colleges, has its own database for programs for pre-med students. If you want these slides, you can email me, and I'm happy to send you a link. And you also are going to have the PRISM list. So I keep a list of these summer programs. If I don't have any returning students here, you're all freshmen, but you're not freshmen. So you have seen this email that I send every year. These are the programs that I'm connected with. I know someone in there, and they know about John Jay. So I'm going to be cleaning up and sending that one soon. For those of you who are computer science, I'm going to send it to the Computer Science Club. If you're a junior scholar, I'm going to very likely post it through the, or I'm going to send it to all of you directly. And, you know, again, the science students know that 3/4 of my job is emailing you guys. So somehow you'll get it on your inbox. So to apply to these programs, you have to put together a personal statement or a statement of purpose. Every program calls it something different. Some of them call them a cover letter. It all means pretty much the same. This is an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the person making the decision. You should list what are your interests, what are your career goals, why are you applying to that program, and any experience that you have that makes you a uniquely qualified student for that program. Most programs are going to tell you what they want to hear. Hi, please write a personal statement in which you discuss your career goals and your previous research experience. Bam. Make sure that you mention and you talk about those two things. They're going to ask for transcripts, official and unofficial. A school is different. Some of them are going to have minimum GPA. Some of them are not going to care. Some of them are going to be looking for grades on a particular class, and I'm not going to tell you. What I can tell you is that having a nice grade on biochemistry for the biomedical programs is a big help to the yes. And then a few letters of recommendation, anywhere between 1 and 3 letters of recommendation. So what I want you to look is from now on, and I'm going to tell that to you, and I'm going to look into the camera and tell everyone. From now on, it is your job to, every time you go into a class, think, this could be the professor that writes me a letter of recommendation or becomes a reference for my job. If you go through a whole semester and the professor at the end has no effing clue who you are, you didn't do your job. And when you go, maybe you got an A, maybe you went to every class, maybe you did extra credit. When you go to ask them for a letter of recommendation, they're going to tell you, who are you? Because I have said that several times to students in my class, and I only teach 1 class a semester. So it's not even that many students. And sometimes even that, particularly in the pandemic, all of you wouldn't turn on your cameras. I have students that come in, oh yeah, we met, we've talked. I have no idea who you, oh, it's because I didn't turn my camera. Well, of course, so I don't remember you anymore. So I am telling you, again, it's your job to make sure we know you so that you deserve the recommendation, you get the recommendation letter you deserve. It's not our job to memorize who you are. You have to come to us. So you want to choose a faculty member that can talk about both your participation in class, your performance in class, potentially something else. The way that you do that, you set up an appointment with them during office hours and you tell them, hey, I'm a pre-med student. I'm thinking about a career in this. I'm thinking about getting a PhD. At some point, I'm going to make a letter of recommendation. So I want to make this connection with you so that I can give you what you need to write that letter. You always want to take the opportunity to ask for a strong letter of recommendation. You're giving them an out in case they have absolutely no idea who you are, because the kiss of death is a generic letter. The kiss of death is not, no one's going to write you a bad letter. We don't write bad letters of recommendation. That looks bad on us, actually. But, hi, this student asked me for a letter of recommendation for your program. The student took a class with me a few semesters ago and got this grade. have a good day, Dr. This and that. That's a kiss of death. Doesn't say I met this student, I've known them for this long. Doesn't say I remember them from class when they participated. It doesn't say they did a project that really impressed me. So you want to make sure they know who you are. Avoid asking over email. I'll do it by now because we're all hybrid and the faculty tend to never be here. Email is more okay. These slides are from a few years ago. Don't leave it for the last minute. These things are going to have deadlines. You want to give us at a minimum a week, and that's not recommended. You want to give us a month so that we can forget and you can remind us in 2 weeks, and then we can freak out. Oh my God, I have to do this. So if you leave it for the last minute, you know what? I'm busy this week. I can't. Sorry. That's the easy answer. You tell us in a month, we're gonna forget, but then a few days, oh, you told me you were good, and then we're gonna get to work. So you wanna ask us on time. It is assumed that you're waiving your right to read it, and you should never ask. You have a right, by the way, you have a right under FERPA to read your letters of recommendation. It's always recommended that you don't. That's why you ask for a strong letter. If you ask, hi, I'm gonna apply to this, do you think you can write me a strong letter of recommendation? At that point, the person is going to say, yes, sure. Or they're going to say, you know what? I can write you a letter, but I don't know how strong it's going to be. Run the hell away. Personal statements tend to be a little bit scary. They're not meant, they shouldn't be scary. It's a good opportunity. Again, you want to introduce yourself. So why are you applying to that program? Why are you pursuing this major? What are your career goals? If you have research experience or any major project experience from a class, you want to describe it, but you want to sound like a scientist. So you want to talk not just, I mix A plus B and then measure this. You want to talk about the hypothesis. You want to talk about the data analysis. Anyone can mix A plus B and stick it in a tube. A scientist can talk about why you mix A plus B and what did it mean afterwards. If you don't have research, no worries. There are ways to do this. Particularly, you can talk about something in science that you're passionate about. For example, if you're a forensic scientist, what's the name of that principle where you leave evidence everywhere that you touch? DNA.
The low card principle?
That one. So if maybe you're passionate about that and that inspired you to do that and you want to go into depth, why are you passionate about? How has that changed you? How has that changed science or the way that we understand the world? For me, my first summer research experience, I didn't have experience. So I talked about, I'm a microbiologist, and there's this principle called the microbial, I forgot the name. But basically, there's the principle says that there's not an organic compound, meaning a carbon-based molecule, that a microorganism cannot evolve to eat. Bacteria will have the earth after we kill ourselves. And then they're going to find all the plastics that we left. They're going to evolve to eat it, and they're going to be very happy. And I spoke, I had like 3 paragraphs about talking about how the evolution of bacteria, et cetera, so that helped me. Also, you want to talk some specific details about the school or researchers where you're applying. If you're applying to a consortium, you don't have to write this part, but if you're applying to a program in a particular school, for example, if you're applying computer science, University of Michigan, MSU, Michigan State University has an amazing NSF-funded program for you guys for computer science. So you want to look through their listed faculty member and say, and I would be interested in working with these professors from your faculty because their work on this is interesting. Or I would like to work on a lab that works in immunology because I am very much I'm very passionate about the innate immune system and how we have evolved that type of response to prevent diseases. There's an animation here, that's why it's weird. And this is why you should never use animation in text slides. What to avoid on a personal statement? Sub-stories. Sometimes there are ways to use it. I come from a neighborhood that had crime and whatnot. Sometimes you can play that, but that shouldn't be the whole personal statement. Destiny. I am destined to become a physician and I have to be in this program so that then I can apply to Harvard Medical School. No. Using other people's quotes. Albert Einstein mentioned blah, blah, blah about science. congratulations, it's a personal statement. It's supposed to be about you, not about Einstein. So avoid quotes. Unrelated information. What would be related information? By the way, on this semester, because of the pandemic, I didn't do very well in this class, but I took action to do this. Unrelated information, the professor hated me, so I got an F in this class. Think about it, it's other faculty that are gonna be reading this. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we tend to have each other's back. We know academia is this tiny and we all know each other. We all know each other. Or we know someone that knows someone. You don't want to sound like you're trying to sound like somebody else. In other words, don't theorize. You don't want to use big words in every sentence. You don't want to run it through Google, through the Google dictionary and pick. If I'm trying to say something with a simple word, I'm going to change it to the 5-syllable word that's very obscure and going to make it sounds fancy. They read hundreds of this. They can get the scammers and the ones that are doing that out of the way pretty fast. They want to hear from you. This is a way for them to get to know you before they accept you. So they want to hear you in your own voice. Of course, you want to make sure that there's no grammar or syntax issues. That's why we have the writing center, but it should sound like you. And finally, don't write the name of the school wrong. You're applying to a program at Harvard. Don't say that I would like to attend this program at Yale because. Thank you for laughing. It meant as a joke, but it's not really a joke. I used to sit on admission committees for this program. 5% of them had the school wrong. We used to just throw them away. We didn't even look at them. Pay attention. Those little details. Of course, unless it was a 4.0 from a small college we never heard of, then in that case we'll give them a pass. But if it was a student from an Ivy League that couldn't get together to put the right name of the school, no. There are many places to get help to write a personal statement. Científico Latino also has a great guide. Científico Latino is in English, guys. Don't worry if you don't know Spanish. The Purdue Online Writing Lab. How many of you have heard of OWL? You know that this place, that's where I check my grammar. And whenever I have to write a personal statement, I still go there. It has, if you don't know it, it's called the Purdue OWL, and it has APA guides. It has everything that you need. It's basically our own online writing center. We have the writing center at John Jay, also the Center for Postgraduate Opportunities, which is upstairs and is run together with the Pre-Law Institute. They can help you. And you guys are all junior scholars or URP students. Actually, particularly for the undergraduate research students, I expect that if you're going to apply to one of these, that you're going to let me read your personal statement, because if you apply to a school in which I know someone, they're going to call me. And when they call me and tell me, oh, this student applied, they did? That's not going to look very good on you. I want to be informed. Junior scholars also, again, not last minute. And by the way, the deadlines for these are in December, and that's when December I disappear from campus. That's when I use my annual leave. You can also ask your faculty members. They've all written personal statements because they all have PhDs, and this is part of the traditional application to a PhD. And anyone that you know that is a good writer. Are you saying in this personal statement what you think you're saying? Okay. Any questions about SERPs? Okay. We go now into what the forensic science students came for, which are the internships. So why is it and why should you do an internship? Internships are going to be a period of work experience offered by an organization for a limited period of time, meaning that it doesn't guarantee employment at the place from outside of those days. There are going to be some paid internships. There are going to be some unpaid internships. There are going to be some official internships. If you go to the website, there's a page. We're recruiting interns for that. Sometimes you know someone that knows someone, and you get an internship sort of on the side that's unofficial. They come in every flavor and variety. Some of them can be done for credit. For example, internships at the OCME for forensic science students, versus some others are not for credit. SERPs, 99% of them are not going to allow you to do this summer research experience as part of a class. You're going to get credit for it. Why? Because they're paying for it, not the college. And also because it's there's some sort of issue with the way that these things are run. Again, the best way to figure out if you like doing something is by doing it. The best way to demonstrate when you look for a job that you can do something is by having already done it. So an internship would allow you to figure out if you like doing that. I'm gonna figure out if also gonna give you an opportunity to show on that resume, I've already done it. I'm already, if you're looking for people here, I'm already here, so you wanna hire. So where to find internships? The Center for Postgraduate Opportunities, again, upstairs, they have a listserv where they send internships that come to them. It's their fellowship internship, their fellowship listserv. If you're part of the science department, you get my emails. The John Jay Careers Online, the Center for Career and Professional Development at John Jay. I don't know how many of you know of John Jay Careers Online? Oh, yes. By the way, if I had asked this question 8 years ago, I would have gotten one hand. That has been my mission at John Jay, to make sure that more of you are going to the Career Center, because the Career Center told me, oh, science students don't come here, so we don't bother with them. And the students told me, well, every time that I go, they don't know what to do with me. So that's why we started working together, and now they have a lot more. They actually had science internships on the last internship fair. 8 years ago, that was not the case. It was all pre-law, pre-law, pre-law.
Are you talking about life sci at the internship fair?
Yeah.
And when you say online, are you referring to Simplicity?
Yes. They changed the name. It's no longer called John Jay Online.
It's called Simplicity.
Simplicity is the platform. Then again, these slides are from before the pandemic. I think they changed the platform to Simplicity during the pandemic. I haven't updated this. So yeah, it is called now Simplicity, but I think the link in their website is still called John Jay Careers Online.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. You can also learn through professional organizations of clubs. They're going to be reached out. And also the internet. How do you find an internship on the internet? By looking. There are various ways. For example, there are going to be national internship programs. HACU, which is the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. And again, you don't need to speak Spanish or be Hispanic for this. John Jay is a Hispanic serving institution, and John Jay as an institution pays a membership fee to HACU. And the president gets advantage of that because it provides a network. The college administration gets an advantage, but they have also a lot of programming for students that doesn't make it through. My goal in life is that more of you do this program because it's amazing. So the HACU National Internship Program, the way that HACU makes money is by the institutional memberships and by running internship programs for the government. So they have this program where they have fall, springs, and summer terms. You apply to the program and you get placed generally on a federal agency or sometimes in a congressional office or an executive an office in the executive branch, rarely in the judiciary. And they're very persuasive. What HACU does is they bring in students from Hispanic serving institutions, they screen and select the interns that are going to take those internships in the government.
Where is it located?
HACU, the internships are across the US, vast majority in DC. I believe they don't cover housing, but they pay well enough for you to be able to. And they have work with dorms because they tend to be during the summer, and they help you find housing, but they won't pay for it. You have to pay for it. The program changes every year. They also have the corporate internship program. They do the same for private companies. IBM, for those computer science students, don't bother with the federal government. IBM, Facebook, and all these, and Amazon, whatnot, they all take advantage of that. It looks good on there, and you know what? I don't care if it's just to make good. For them to look good, it's good internship for you guys. Another program is Pathways. That program is by the federal agency, by the federal government. Forensic science students, how many of you want to work for the FBI? Always one or two. How about computer science? So all federal agencies, Department of Justice, Department of Agriculture, Department of Homeland Security, and whatnot, have to, by congressional mandate, have Pathways internships for undergraduates, for recent graduates, and for graduate students. They're paid, and not only that, they count towards your federal work. So if you end up working in the FBI, I don't know if you've seen the application for a federal work. It depends on your experience. The salary that you get depends on your experience. They will count this internship as federal experience, and you always start a little bit higher in your salary in your first job. They have internships. These internships are not part of a program. So they're not going to have one during the summer, one during the spring, and one during the winter term. They are run like jobs. they tend to coincide with the academic, the academic calendar, but the pathways is run through usajobs.gov, which is a website, is the HR website for the US government. Once you find them, you apply, you can negotiate when to start and when to finish. You cannot negotiate the pay. The pay is congressionally mandated too, but it's a great opportunity for you to get a sense of working the government if you're interested in that.
I have a question for those federal jobs. Do they usually accept people that doesn't have a citizenship, like green card holders?
You have to be a permanent resident, particularly anything with the FBI or any of the agencies that require security clearances.
Also, they do accept people with permanent residency too?
Permanent residency, yeah. What they're not going to take is international students. By the way, I am a big fan of the US Department of Agriculture. The reason why I studied microbiology is because I wanted to be a food microbiologist, so that was my goal. I don't know if you know, but the largest federal agency in the US is the US Department of Agriculture. They hire, for example, forensic scientists. Why? The US Department of Agriculture is also the largest insurance company in the world, and they insure most crops in the US. Agriculture is still our #1 industry in this country. Who do you think the USDA sends to investigate insurance fraud cases? Forensic scientists. And let me tell you an example. A few years ago, they had a claim where a potato grower said that their whole crop got lost. So they sent the investigator, and the investigator figured out that, oh, wait a minute. This year, the prices of potatoes fell down. And based on the evidence, what this person did is that they put the potatoes in the silo and they turned off the temperature control, so all of them rotted. Because the farmer knew that if they sold the potatoes, they wouldn't make enough, it would make less money than the insurance got. Who that do that? Forensic scientists that work for the Department of Agriculture. The US Postal Service has its own sub-agency, the USPIS, the US Postal Investigation Service. Again, computer science and forensic science, they're the ones that investigate mail fraud and mail crimes. Another opportunity, they have internships. So I know that you want to work in the FBI. The FBI rarely has this, but if you get a job, an internship at USPIS, when you apply to the FBI, oh, you're already in the system for federal employment. You get an extra bonus. If you are, for example, toxicology majors, maybe some there. Any toxicology majors? Okay, Catherine is here. So, toxicology majors, a lot of you have interest in working in the pharmaceutical industry. All these multinational pharmaceutical companies are going to have a website where they list their jobs, and in there they're going to also list their internships. For example, Amgen, ginormous company across the world, and they have their own page only for students and recent graduates where they list all their internships throughout, and they also do co-op. When they say co-op, it means for credit. Internships not for credits, co-op for credit. So you go there, you can look Amgen, Pfizer, BASF, what's other ginormous biopharmaceutical? Johnson & Johnson, or by the way, Facebook, by the way, Google, also they're gonna have their website where they post all their jobs. If you look there, they're gonna have the sub page for internships. They all list them, they're all online. Also, if you are interested in working with local governments, they're also going to have their own webpage with their own internships. You go to the New York City Jobs website, there is a way to sort jobs by levels, and you can pick the ones for internships. You mentioned LifeSci. LifeSci is a program funded through New York City, and that's trying to develop the the life science industry in New York. They have this internship program. They love CUNY students. They don't get enough applications from CUNY. So every time all the Ivy Leagues get more spots, not because they're better, it's because they all apply and you guys don't. These are paid internships. They're local. They're going to be the last workshop for this semester is LifeSci. By the way, it's LifeSci, but they have LifeSci Like the pharmaceutical companies need computer scientists too. They need toxicologists, they need biologists, they need chemists. So don't limit yourself to, oh, life science, that's not for me. Check it out anyway, you never know. They're gonna be visiting us. You have the link on the website. If you're not part of the program and you're here, you can use the QR code and attend. And I have a question. Melanie, I'm assuming you're talking about HACU, and they have internships that go through the fall, spring, and summer every year. Which one then? The other one doesn't help me. Turn on the mic and just tell me.
It was the one after Haku.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Pathways.
that one.
Okay, so pathways, again, every agency, they run these internships like job searches. So I think you can negotiate when to start and the amount of time, but it's not a program like HACU, for example, where they have the terms. So they're gonna come in randomly when they need an intern, they post it. Okay. So when you apply to an internship, what you need to do depends on the internship. They're gonna tell you what they need. In general, a good resume or a curriculum vitae. The Center for Career and Professional Development, the Career Center downstairs, they have very good career advisors that can review your resume or help you write it if you don't have one, or help you update it. Also, they can help you with cover letters, and they do regular workshops on how to work on those. We're gonna have our own resume workshop on November 1st. So that's a great opportunity. That's gonna be Alejandra's first workshop for us. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, just like generic recommendation letters are a piece of depth in a grad school application, generic cover letters where you say, hi, I'm applying, I'm sending this letter because you said that you needed a cover letter. I'm interested in this job. And then describe something that you already put on your resume there. Sincerely, your name. I hire people for John Jay, both for my office, and I sit on hiring committees all the time. Whenever I get an application with a generic cover letter that doesn't mention, I am applying to John Jay colleges, to this job at John Jay colleges for this reason, I barely pay attention to that. And that's not just me. That is, if you talk to anyone in your family that hires people, the worst thing you can have is a cover letter that doesn't even mention the job you're applying to. Nah. How do I know you actually read it? Why should I waste my time interviewing you if you cannot demonstrate me that you actually read the job description? So for that, on the cover letter should be tailored for every job or every internship. The internship is gonna tell you, these are the tasks that you're gonna be doing. How are you prepared for those tasks? What are you looking forward? What specifically about that company or about that particular internship are you attracted to? Why are you doing this? What are your career opportunities and how this particular internship is gonna help you? There's many things to write. Also, what do you bring to the position? I took this course and this course that is related, or I have this experience, or I have this interest. In some cases, there might be interviews. So treat your search for internship like you would treat how you would treat search for a job. For those of you who are computer science majors, in a few weeks, we're also going to have the people from QD2X, which is a program in the computer science program that finds internships for computer science students. And I believe they're going to start with applied maths at some point. We have staff at John Jay to help you find internships. Take advantage of them. Okay, so that's it. Questions, comments, nightmares? Hold on. There you go. Jenny, I don't know because I'm not the one that does this. Alejandra knows, and she does the 20 minutes. You know that this meeting starts at 1. Any questions in the room? Okay, yeah.
Okay, so for internships, is it just like a Monday to Friday thing, or is it just every day?
Depends on the internship, the company. For example, for FOS 402, the expectation is 280 hours during the semester, and that is based on the amount required by the Forensic Science Society certification. So the Office of the Medical Examiner works around that for us, but it depends on the internship. So I don't know.
So, in your personal experience, which one do you prefer, the summer program or the internship?
Depends on what is your career goal. So what is your career goal?
Computer science.
Computer science. Have you ever been interested in being a computer science professor? An internship. PhDs in computer science, at least what I've been told, are very different than PhDs in the natural sciences. Most PhDs in computer science work in academia, while only 20% of natural and physical sciences PhD work in academia. Most of us, well, I work in academia, but I'm not a professor. But most PhDs in science work in industry, work for the government, work for national labs, work for a company. I have a friend from grad school that works in an ad agency, another one that works as an editor for medical literature. And one that completely abandoned science and started a baby food company. Something else?
I have a question. So,
Yes. Thank you for turning on the mic. Who's this?
it's Melanie Rose.
Ah,
So for the forensic science major, I believe that you have to have an internship within John Jay and an internship outside of John Jay. Am I correct?
no, you have to do one of the two. For
One
forensic-
of okay, so
for all science majors, you have to complete a capstone. For
mhm,
forensic science, you have two chances. FOS 401 is an externship, meaning an internship outside of John Jay.
Mhm.
FOS 402 is an internship with a faculty member at John Jay. It has to be a full-time faculty member in the science department. CMB and CMB, you can do FOS 402, the internship with a faculty member, or the capstone course, which is run by Professor Delgado Cruzata, and it's a semester long, usually run during the spring. For toxicology, you can do FOS 402, or you work it out with Professor Cheng because she has her own things. And my understanding is that both CMB and, toxicology are gonna have the options for externship in a few years.
so now let's say I want to do an internship outside of John Jay. And I'm going into my capstone year. Should I start looking ahead of time, or should I like wait until I get into that class for them to explain everything to me?
No. You have to be able to enroll in the class. You have to demonstrate you already got the internship.
Wait, say
So-
that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
For Professor Rowe to let you enroll in FOS 401, you have to already show her that you got the internship.
Oh, okay, got it.
So for that, step number one, if you want to do FOS 401, particularly if you want to work in for forensic science, if you want to work in the Office of the Medical Examiner or a CRIM lab, try to get an internship there. Again, the best way to demonstrate you can do something is by having done it already. So step number one, talk to Professor Rourke. She has already a list of various agencies that offer internships. Starting in January, again, we're gonna have new staffers at John Jay that are gonna be doing that for you guys. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but I'm very excited about it. I think their goal is to secure 100 internships for John Jay students on the first 6 months. Step number one, talk to Linda Rourke. Step number two, start applying and looking for internships, secure the internship, and then talk to Rourke about enrolling in the course.
So
By the way, is 2:50, so if you have to go to class, go, and I can stay and answer questions.
okay, so my academic advisor said that I have to take, in order to get an internship, I have to take instrumental analysis 2. And right now I'm taking the first one.
FOS 401 and FOS 402 are reserved for, you have to have senior classification to take it.
Okay.
Which academic advisor was that?
I think her name was Sandra Swenson.
Swenson?
Yeah.
You're a forensic science major, and instrumental analysis is the one that's going to teach you every technique in the arsenal of forensic science. So they're gonna be looking for them.
Okay.
Can you find an internship without having finished? Sure. But the one that you want, if you wanna work in a medical examiner office, they're gonna be looking.
Okay, so I can just start applying for internships.
Yes.
Okay, so with research, I've come across a few issues just like with the different choices you have. So obviously you have PRISM undergrad research program here. And then you also have what you just mentioned, the summer programs out of state. And then you also have research your senior year, you can choose between a research research or an internship. So like, what do you suggest to go with there? Like if you're in PRISM, should I be going somewhere over the summer out of state? Or, you know, if I have to do research for my major, should I be in PRISM? Like, you know how that overlaps?
It overlaps, but not really. PRISM and the undergraduate research program is a co-curricular program. By co-curricular, it means it's not related to classes. FOS for 1 and 402 are courses. Can you be on the PRISM undergraduate research or crafters class? Can you be on PRISM undergraduate research and do your PRISM experience as a, bye everyone. I'm going to finish this.